When he said her name, the first thing my husband said after 10 years of marriage wasn't "I'm sorry." It wasn't "we need to talk." It wasn't even "this is hard for me." He smiled, actually smiled, and said, "I finally found my true love." I remember blinking at him once, twice, waiting for the punchline, but none came. Instead, he leaned back in the leather chair in my office, crossed his legs like he was at a job interview, and said her name out loud. Lena. Like it was sacred. Like it was supposed to mean something to me. For a moment, all I heard was the hum of the air conditioner and the faint sound of traffic outside our downtown Chicago building. The city kept moving. People were late to meetings. Coffee cups spilled. Life went on. Meanwhile, my 10-year marriage just ended between sips of lukewarm coffee. "I want a divorce," he added calmly. "I deserve happiness." That's when I laughed. Not a polite laugh. Not a nervous one. A real uncontrollable laugh that surprised even me. Because after everything, after the years I built him up, the nights I stayed awake balancing numbers and dreams, the sacrifices that never made it into his memory, this was how it ended? With true love? I wiped a tear from the corner of my eye, still smiling, and pressed the button on my desk phone. "Emily," I said sweetly, "can you come in here, please?" My husband frowned. "Why is your assistant?" The door opened, and that's when everything began to change. 10 years earlier, when I met Mark, he was charming in the way men are when they need something. We were both 28. I had just earned my MBA and landed a mid-level management role at a logistics firm downtown. Mark worked in sales, commission-based, inconsistent, but full of big promises and bigger dreams. On our third date, he said, "Someday, I want to build something that matters." I believed him. When we married 2 years later, I paid for most of the wedding. My parents chipped in quietly. Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of life's quiet miracles, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps our little storytelling family grow. Mark promised he'd make it up to me once things took off. They never quite did. But I didn't complain. I believed in teamwork. I believed marriage was about seasons. When he lost his job during the recession, I covered the mortgage. When his startup idea collapsed, I encouraged him to try again. When I got promoted to director, he said, "I'm proud of you." But his smile didn't reach his eyes. That should have been my first warning. The shift I ignored. Success changes things, especially when one partner grows and the other stays exactly where they are. By year 7 of our marriage, my name was on industry panels. I was managing teams across 3 states. My assistant, Emily, had been with me for 4 years, organized, sharp, loyal. Mark, meanwhile, had bounced between jobs. Nothing ever felt right to him anymore. "You're always working," he'd say. But when I suggested he join me at company events, he refused. That world isn't for me. Then slowly he started staying out later. New gym, new clothes, a sudden obsession with his phone, and a new word entered our marriage. "Lena. She's just someone from my co-working space," he said casually one night. "You'd like her." I didn't ask questions. Because when you trust someone for 10 years, you don't expect betrayal to arrive smiling. Back to the office. Emily stepped into my office quietly, tablet in hand. "Yes, Claire," she asked. Mark stiffened. He hated Emily. He said she looked at him like she knew things. He wasn't wrong. "Could you bring me the folder labeled Hawthorne?" I asked. Emily nodded once and left. Mark leaned forward. "What is this?" I tilted my head. "You said you wanted a divorce." "I'm just making sure we're prepared." "For what?" "For the truth," I replied. That's when his confidence wavered, just a little. The audacity. "You should understand," Mark continued, trying to regain control. "Lena makes me feel alive. She listens. She believes in me." I folded my hands on the desk. "I listened for 10 years, I said calmly. "I believed in you when no one else did." He shrugged. "People grow apart." "No, Some people grow. Others just drift, then blame the distance. You'll be fine, he added, almost kindly. You're strong. Independent. You don't need me. That one stung more than I expected. Because he was right. I didn't need him. And he hated that. What he didn't know, what Mark didn't know, what he never bothered to ask, was how carefully I'd protected myself over the years. The accounts, the contracts, the investments, the business I quietly built alongside my corporate role. The reason Emily wasn't just an assistant, but a witness, a guardian, a strategist. When Emily returned and placed the folder on my desk, Mark glanced at it and laughed nervously. What's that? Some work thing. I smiled back. Oh, Mark, I said softly. You always underestimated me. I opened the folder and watched his face change. The first crack. Inside were documents, bank statements, LLC registrations, emails. His name appeared in places he didn't expect. This is private, he said, standing up. So was my marriage, I replied. The room felt smaller now, the air heavier. And for the first time since he said her name, Mark looked scared. The woman he chose. Mark stared at the folder like it might explode. Why do you have this? He asked, his voice suddenly thinner. I leaned back in my chair and crossed my arms. Sit down, I said. You're about to hear a story. And for once, you're not the hero in it. He didn't sit. He paced. That was always his tell. When Mark felt cornered, he walked in circles, rubbing the back of his neck like the problem would dissolve if he kept moving. This isn't necessary, he muttered. I already told you the truth. No, I corrected gently. You told me your version of it. I tapped the folder. This is the rest. Who Lena really was. Lena wasn't just some woman from a co-working space. She was 32, recently divorced, stylish in a way that looked effortless but took work. She laughed loudly at Mark's jokes, made him feel interesting again. And she had a habit. She attached herself to men who were almost something, almost successful, almost confident, almost ready to be saved. I didn't learn this overnight. I learned it the way women like me learn most things, quietly, patiently, by watching patterns instead of words. Emily had noticed first. Your husband comes by the building sometimes, she said one afternoon months earlier, casual but precise. Not to see you. That was when I started paying attention. The first lie. Mark told me Lena was just a friend. But friends don't text at midnight with hearts. Friends don't share hotel rooms at conferences, because it's cheaper. Friends don't whisper on balconies while their spouses sleep 3 feet away. When I asked him directly, he laughed. You're being paranoid, he said. I'd never hurt you. Men like Mark always confuse intent with impact. He didn't mean to hurt me. He just didn't care if he did. Back in the office. You investigated me? Mark snapped, finally stopping. I raised an eyebrow. No. I protected myself. There's a difference. I slid one page toward him. An email thread. Dates. Times. Receipts. His co-working space membership was paid for by me. Through a joint account he assumed I never checked. The dinners with Lena? Business lunches, according to him. Funny how business lunches came with candlelight and wine. Mark's jaw tightened. You had no right. I had every right, I cut in. This is my life. My finances. My future. Emily stood quietly near the door, arms folded, watching him unravel. She knows everything, he asked. She knows enough, I replied. The affair fog. Affairs live in fantasy. No bills. No laundry. No responsibility. Just stolen moments and flattering mirrors. Lena never saw Mark when he was frustrated, or insecure, or resentful. She saw the version of him that only existed when someone else was paying the cost. And that someone was me. You think she loves you? I asked calmly. Mark hesitated. That was answer enough. She believes in me, he said finally. I smiled, not kindly. So did I. What he didn't expect. Mark assumed I'd cry, beg, argue, threaten. Instead, I laughed and called my assistant. That alone shook him more than any scream ever could. You always thought you were leaving me, I said. But you don't realize you were already gone. He frowned. What does that mean? It means I stopped building around you a long time ago. I opened another page. An LLC. My LLC. Registered 5 years earlier. Mark's eyes widened. I didn't know about this. No, I said. You never asked. While he chased validation, I built leverage. While he complained, I planned. While he fantasized, I prepared. The power shift. Is this some kind of threat? Mark asked. I shook my head. It's clarity. The company name meant nothing to him. But the numbers did. Assets. Contracts. Accounts he didn't have access to. Emily stepped forward. You should also know, she said evenly, that some of the income Mark believes is marital isn't. He stared at her, then at me, then back at the papers. You hid money, he whispered. I didn't flinch. I protected what I built. There it was, the moment his ego finally cracked. Not because he loved me, but because he realized I wasn't helpless. Lena's role. You don't understand, Mark said desperately. Lena helped me see how unhappy I was. I laughed again, soft this time. No, I said. Lena helped you escape responsibility. He slammed his hand on the desk. That's not fair. Neither is cheating on your wife, I replied. Yet here we are. Silence filled the room. Outside, a siren wailed. Chicago kept breathing. The divorce conversation he wasn't ready for. I'll get a lawyer, Mark said stiffly. Of course you will, I said. So will I. He straightened, trying to regain authority. I expect half. Emily coughed once, sharp, controlled. Based on current documentation, she said, that may not be realistic. Mark's face drained of color. What does that mean? I met his eyes for the first time since he said her name. It means, I said slowly, you underestimated the woman you married. The quiet victory. When Mark finally left my office, he didn't slam the door. He didn't shout. He walked out quietly, like a man realizing the ground beneath him wasn't solid anymore. Emily waited a moment before speaking. Are you okay? She asked. I exhaled. I am, I said, and for the first time I meant it. When the fantasy collapsed. 3 weeks after Mark asked for a divorce, Lena finally stepped into the real world. And it didn't look anything like the fantasy she'd been living in. The illusion begins to crack. Mark moved out fast. Too fast. He packed a suitcase, grabbed his laptop, and left behind 10 years of shared history like it was outdated furniture. I'll stay with Lena for a while, he said, trying to sound confident. I nodded. Of course. He expected resistance. What he got was freedom. And freedom, I learned, terrifies men who don't know how to stand on their own. Lena's apartment. Lena lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Logan Square. Exposed brick. A single window. Furniture that looked curated but uncomfortable. It was charming for a weekend. Not for a life. Mark discovered this by day 4. By week 2, the cracks were showing. She worked late. She hated cooking. She complained about money, his lack of it. This isn't what I signed up for, she said one night after he suggested splitting rent. That was the first argument. Not the last. Meanwhile, I was thriving. While Mark tried to merge his chaos into Lena's curated life, I reclaimed mine. I changed the locks. Not out of spite, but peace. I donated the clothes he left behind. I slept better. I laughed more. And most importantly, I stopped carrying someone else's emotional weight. Emily noticed first. You're lighter, she said during a morning meeting. I'm free, I replied. The call I knew was coming. Came on a Tuesday night. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Almost. Claire, Mark said, breathless. We need to talk. I smiled to myself. We already did, I replied. No, this is different. It always is. The reality check. Things are complicated, he admitted. I waited. Lena doesn't understand the pressure I'm under. I stayed silent. She thought I was further along. There it was. The truth finally peeking through. You told her you were successful, I said calmly. He hesitated. I may have exaggerated. Men don't lie to impress women. They lie to escape themselves. Lena's discovery. What Mark didn't know was that Lena had started asking questions. Questions I'd already answered for myself months ago. Why didn't he have savings? Why did his credit cards decline? Why did he need her help covering utilities? She'd fallen in love with a story, not a man. And stories collapse when facts show up. The public cracks. They fought at a restaurant one night. A small Italian place near Milwaukee Avenue. Lena raised her voice. Mark shut down. People stared. She left first. He followed. And just like that, the illusion shattered in public. The legal reality. A week later, my lawyer called. Mark's attorney is requesting financial disclosures. I laughed. Send them what's required. Emily leaned in. And nothing more. Exactly. For the first time, Mark wasn't negotiating from confidence. He was negotiating from fear. The assistant's perspective. Emily saw him in the lobby one afternoon. Unshaven. Tired. Smaller. He didn't look like a man in love, she said later. He looked lost. The text message. It came late. I miss us. 3 words. No apology. No accountability. Just nostalgia. I didn't respond. Because missing comfort isn't the same as missing me. Lena reaches out. I didn't expect this. But she did. A message on LinkedIn. Professional. Polite. Curious. Hi Claire. I know this is awkward. I'd like to talk. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I agreed. Not for revenge. For closure. The coffee shop meeting. She was prettier in person. And more insecure than her confidence suggested. I didn't know, she said quickly. About the finances. About the marriage still being complicated. I offered. She nodded. He made it sound like you were cold. Distant. I smiled gently. That's how men describe women who stop carrying them. She flinched. The truth lands. He said you controlled everything, Lena continued. I did, I replied. Because someone had to. Silence stretched. I think he used us both, she said quietly. Yes, I agreed. Just in different ways. The end of the fantasy. A week later, Mark moved out of Lena's apartment. No dramatic fight. Just resignation. She wanted stability. He wanted admiration. Neither found what they needed. The price of walking away. By the time Mark realized what he'd lost, the world had already moved on without him. And so had I. The divorce becomes real. Divorce isn't dramatic the way movies promise. There are no shouting matches in courtrooms. No grand speeches. Just paperwork. Stacks of it. Cold, methodical, and unforgiving. Mark sat across from me in a neutral conference room downtown. His lawyer flipping through documents with practiced boredom. My lawyer sat calmly beside me. Emily waited outside, as always, steady, prepared, loyal. Mark wouldn't meet my eyes. The settlement shock. Based on the documentation, my lawyer said evenly, my client is offering a fair settlement. Mark's lawyer frowned. Fair is subjective. Not in this case, my lawyer replied. The numbers landed like a slap. Mark's shoulders sagged. This can't be right, he whispered. I thought. You thought wrong, I said quietly. For 10 years, he assumed I'd always cushion the fall. This time there was no net. The cost of ego. Mark had turned down chances to grow, to learn, to partner with me instead of competing. And now he was paying for that choice. Not just financially, but emotionally. Claire, he said suddenly, voice cracking, do you really want this? I looked at him, really looked. The man I married was gone. What remained was someone who wanted relief, not reconciliation. I want peace, I answered. The attempted guilt. After the meeting, he caught up with me in the hallway. You've changed, he said. I smiled. I evolved. He shook his head. You're punishing me. No, I said gently. I stopped protecting you from consequences. There's a difference. The career milestone. 2 days later, I stood on a stage in New York. Panel lights. Industry leaders. A room full of people listening. I spoke about leadership, resilience, and strategic growth. No one asked about my marriage. No one needed to. I was more than someone's wife. I always had been. Mark's unraveling. Word traveled. Quietly. Professionally. Mark struggled to find steady work. Not because I interfered, but because the world doesn't reward potential forever. Lena had moved on. Emily confirmed it one morning. She updated her profile. She said, new city. New job. Good for her. The one last ask. Mark called again. This time I answered. I just need time, he said, to get back on my feet. I closed my eyes. He still didn't understand. I gave you 10 years, I said. That was the time. Silence. Then a quiet broke in. I know. The release. The divorce finalized on a Thursday. No celebration. No tears. Just closure. I walked out of the courthouse and felt something unexpected. Relief. Emily's question. That evening, Emily asked, do you regret laughing that day? I thought about it. No, I said. It was the moment I stopped shrinking. The new beginning. I moved apartments. Nothing extravagant. Just intentional. I filled it with light. With art. With silence that felt like safety, not loneliness. Mark's final realization. Months later, I ran into him by chance. A coffee shop. He looked older. I didn't know how strong you were, he said quietly. I smiled. You didn't need to, I replied. I did. The woman who walked away. People think the end of a marriage is the loudest moment. It isn't. The loudest moment already happened. The day he said another woman's name like it was sacred. The ending is quiet. It's the sound of a door closing without anger. It's the sound of a woman choosing herself. Life after the storm. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, my life didn't look dramatic. It looked steady. I woke up early. Not because someone needed me, but because I wanted to. I drank coffee slowly. I chose silence. And for the first time in years, my thoughts belonged only to me. No tension. No waiting for disappointment. No bracing myself for someone else's insecurity. Peace is subtle, but once you have it, you recognize how loud chaos used to be. What true love actually means. Mark thought true love meant being admired without effort. Lena thought it meant security without responsibility. I learned something different. True love is not someone choosing you when life is easy. It's choosing yourself when life demands courage. The assistant who became family. Emily stayed. Not just as my assistant, but as someone who had witnessed my quiet strength long before Mark ever did. One afternoon, she looked at me and said, you know, he never deserved access to this version of you. She was right. Some people only see your value when they lose the privilege of being close to it. The unexpected invitation. A year later, I was invited to speak at a leadership retreat in California. The topic, Women, Power, and the Courage to Walk Away. I smiled when I read the title, not because it reminded me of pain, but because it reminded me of survival. Mark's final message. I didn't expect to hear from him again, but life has a way of testing closure. His message was short. I finally understand what you were carrying. I'm sorry. No excuses. No requests. Just acknowledgement. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I replied, I hope you find peace. And I meant it. Because forgiveness doesn't mean reopening doors. It means not carrying the weight anymore. The lesson Lena never learned, and I did. Lena chased potential. I built reality. She wanted to be chosen. I chose myself. That difference changes everything. The quiet power of laughter. People often ask me about the moment I laughed. They assume it was bitterness, anger, revenge. It wasn't. It was clarity. Laughter was my body realizing something before my mind caught up. That I was free. That I didn't need to fight. That the man sitting across from me had already lost. What I gained when I lost him. I gained my sleep, my confidence, my future, my voice, and most importantly, I gained respect for myself. The final reflection. If I could speak to the woman I was 10 years ago, I wouldn't warn her. I'd thank her for loving deeply, for giving honestly, for building quietly, because she didn't fail. She prepared me to become who I am now, the ending he never expected. Mark thought walking away would free him. He didn't realize freedom requires accountability. I didn't chase him. I didn't beg. I didn't compete. I let him go. And that was the most powerful thing I ever did. The woman who walked away. I am not bitter. I am not broken. I am not angry. I am awake. And once a woman wakes up, she never shrinks again. Final line, perfect for narration ending. He went looking for true love. I became it.